Hello everyone, and welcome to my Bowsorc PvP build guide. You know, sometimes it's good to play a build that you most certainly will not enjoy. Just to be sure that, yeah, you just don't like it at all. And this was me recently on a glass cannon Bowsorc, where I've decided to pair Null Arca and Tarnished Nightmare. Absolutely OP damage, but if you will get caught by more than one person, it's most likely a GG. Totally viable playstyle, where you trade throw ability for more damage, but it's just not my thing. Although I'm not really a 1v Xer, because I play basically only BGs, but you can still easily be ganked by multiple people, and I just don't find it fun at all when I just insta-die when this happens. Bowsorc is already extremely squishy, and without a defensive set, good luck. I was even trying Lefthander's Aegis build, but it's also not enough. Same as Cities, which is in fact even worse, in my opinion. So after playing some time like this, I just went back to my old build, but with some new changes. This build can attack, it can defend, and it's just a very solid overall option, which is exactly how I like to play. So now let's talk about the build itself. For my sets, I'm using only one set from my old Bowsorc builds, and it's Rallying Cry. In the current meta, crit damage is insane, the highest we've ever seen. And that's why Rallying Cry is the strongest counter to that. Too good to not use it. However, if you want to play with two offensive sets, I can recommend Tarnished Nightmare is probably the best option. Way of Fire, Order's Wrath and Father would also be good choices. For my offensive set on this build, I went with Null Arca. Before I was using Queen, but in the next update they will change it a bit and it won't be as broken as it used to be. So I've decided to go with Null Arca, since it's the best PvP damage set right now. All you need to do for it to proc is to do crit damage, and after a certain amount of stacks, it will shoot a projectile at your enemy. The only downside is that it's single target, so if you want more AoE damage, you should go for Tarnished. Or you can use both, like I was saying before, but then it will be a glass cannon build with minimum defense. As my mythic, I'm using Lefthander's Aegis build. It's a really good defensive option, which I was using on my Magblade and now trying it out on Bowsorc. We're not gonna roll as much as on Nightblade, but when you do roll, you get that huge damage shield, which will cover you up from all the damage you are taking. Really comes in clutch sometimes. But downside can be that if you aren't rolling often, this mythic will be just wasted. So orient on your own playstyle and decide how much you will need this thing. To be honest, with Rallying Cry, you can get away with more offensive mythic, such as Marken for damage and armor, Vilharza's Band for light attack damage, or new mythic Monomyth, which I don't have, so I can't really say anything about it, but apparently it's very good. And finally, on this build I'm using One Piece Trainee and Master's Bow. I chose Trainee over One Piece Magma this time, because I'm not using Daedric Summoning skill line and have way less resources. And Master's Bow is same as before, great choice for damage on both builds. Now let's move to the skills. On the front bar I have Poison Injection to proc Master's Bow, Camo Hunter for Mage's Staff during Prophecy, Crystal Weapon as my main spammable. It reduces enemies' armor by 1k and heals us every time we use it, because of the passives. Then we have Merciless Resolve from Nightblade Assassination skill line. It might be the best burst damage skill in the game, and it perfectly fits on this build. In my opinion, it's not only not ruining Bowsorc's signature playstyle, but actually adds to it. Because usually in place of this skill, I'm using Haunting Curse or Bound Ornaments. And although I really like ornaments, Nightblade Bow proc hits way harder. Add to it all of the OP assassination passives with crit chance and damage, and you have a very strong subclassing option for Bowsorc. Then I'm using Streak as my stun and mobility skill, and as my ultimate I'm actually using Dawnbreaker. It works great after Streak, gives us Fighter's Guild passives, and just in general good old reliable ultimate. You can use Overload, Meteor or Bow ultimate, so it's completely your preference. Now to the backbar. Here I have Dark Deal for sustain, heal, minor force and berserk, Hurricane for major resolve and 15% speed buff, Vigor for minor resolve and heal, Crit Surge for major brutality and sorcery and also for a very strong heal over time, Elisas for major breach and nice status effects, and finally Temporal Guard for minor protection and as an emergency ultimate. As an option, you can slot here Soul Harvest for more ulti-gen if you want. Bowsorc is still good as usual, and this time you can add an extra flavor to it in the form of Bow proc. Not only it's strong as hell, but it also looks really cool. I really like subclassing option for this build. Other than that, it's still the same Bowsorc and it's really enjoyable to play this build. As usual, be sure to experiment with different sets, skills and subclasses now as well, if you want to figure out what better suit your playstyle. Thank you all for watching, and goodbye.